Jai Hind. Hello cadets. Now let's continue our discussion of reflection of light from mirrors into the category of spherical mirrors. Okay. So how exactly the spherical mirrors are made or manufactured? So imagine that you have taken a spherical shell made of glass. A spherical shell is nothing but a sphere which is not solid. It is actually a kind of a sphere with a very small wall thickness, and that is what we call a spherical shell. So consider a spherical shell somewhat like this. Now what you have done is you have cut out a small part of a big shell, very big shell in fact. So when you cut the small portion out of this spherical shell, you end up getting something like this. Now what you will realize is that this is a spherical surface, this one or even the inner one. This is a spherical surface whose center is the center of the sphere itself. Okay, so you have a kind of a spherical object which is not completely a sphere but only a small portion of the large spherical shell which has been sliced out of the sphere. Okay, now the inner side of this, the inner surface of this sliced out portion is concave, and the outer portion or outer side, outer surface is convex. So inner surface concave and outer surface convex. So you can have a convex or a concave mirror made out of this object. The only thing that differentiates both of them is in here, in this piece, which side you have applied the amalgam and on which side you are expecting it to be a reflecting side. So imagine that you have now this kind of piece which is basically a kind of a blank transparent piece like this. If you apply amalgam on the outer side, the convex side, so it is denoted by these lines, these hatching lines. Okay, so the convex side has become opaque, whereas concave side is now your reflecting side, and therefore what you have is a concave mirror. So what do you do to make a concave mirror? You take a large spherical shell, you slice out a small portion of that, so you have a spherical shape which is not entirely a sphere, and further what you have in there is one side is convex, outer side that is, and inner side is concave. If you apply amalgam to the convex side, then the concave side is the reflecting surface and you have a concave mirror. Whereas if you do exactly reverse, that is, you have the same object but you have silvered. Okay, observe carefully. You have applied the amalgam on the concave side, then the convex surface on this side is the reflecting surface, and what you have is a convex mirror. Okay, that means that fundamentally there is not much of a difference between a convex and a concave mirror. It is just a matter of take a spherical shell, slice out some part of it, and whether or not you will get a concave or a convex mirror entirely depends on which side is going to be opaque, on which side you are going to apply the amalgam. Accordingly, you will have a concave mirror or a convex mirror. So in simple terms, what you can say is that if this spherical mirror, its reflecting surface is the concave surface, then you have a concave mirror, and if its reflecting surface is the convex surface, then you have a convex mirror. Now let us go back to the original spherical shell. Suppose from that you have made a concave mirror somewhat like this. So this is your concave mirror. First, when it was a complete sphere, this point C was the center of that sphere. So in connection with this mirror, this point C therefore would be called as center of curvature. This point would be called as center of curvature. Okay. Now an important concept about center of curvature. Imagine you are actually using drawing materials to draw convex or concave mirror. So what you have to do, take the compass, fix the pencil in the compass, take some distance in the compass and put the sharp point of the compass at one location and then draw an arc like this. Now, when you draw an arc like this, remember, wherever you have placed the sharp point of your compass, that point will always be the center of curvature of the mirror that you have drawn here. Okay, so when you actually prepare the ray diagram, every ray diagram of maybe concave mirror, maybe convex mirror, every ray diagram will start from this step. You will be putting the sharp point of the compass here, draw an arc of the circle. Whatever arc of the circle you have drawn, that is your convex or concave mirror, whichever you are drawing. But wherever you have placed the sharp point of the compass, that point is going to be your center of curvature. Okay, next. So the radius of the arc that you have drawn is the radius of that sphere from which you have sliced out this much portion. So the radius of that sphere in this case is called as the radius of curvature. Okay, so center of the imaginary sphere of whose surface the given spherical mirror is assumed to be a part of is called center of curvature. Okay, and radius of the imaginary sphere of whose surface the given spherical mirror is assumed to be a part of is called radius of curvature. Now, another important aspect is when you will be drawing various rays of light, or imagine that this is any spherical mirror, convex or concave. Now you want to verify law of reflection, or a particular incident ray is given to you. You want to apply law of reflection and find out or maybe draw the reflected ray. So what you need to understand is, in order to do that, you have to draw a normal first. Okay, you have to draw the normal first. How will you draw the normal? So wherever you draw normal to any spherical mirror, please remember that normal will always pass through the center of curvature of the mirror. So imagine you are drawing a normal at this point. This is the normal at this point. So wherever you draw normal to the spherical mirror, convex or concave, wherever you draw normal, it will always pass through the center of curvature of the given mirror. Okay, so this principle is very important, especially when you are trying to demonstrate or draw a ray diagram showing reflection from any spherical mirror, convex or concave, both. Okay, now moving ahead, so so far we have got center of curvature, we have got radius of curvature, we know now how to make a convex or a concave mirror out of a spherical shell. The next important point here is the principal axis, the pole and the focus. Okay, principal axis, pole and focus, they are also further important points in connection with any spherical mirror, let it be convex or concave. First of all, consider the pole of the mirror. Imagine you have drawn a ray of light or maybe a straight line or say a radius. So obviously it's going to pass through the center of curvature. If you extend it till it cuts the mirror, till it intersects the mirror at a point, that point is the pole of the mirror. But you can't have any radius, you need to have one special radius. Which is that radius? That radius is symmetrically situated over the surface of the mirror So that point P, the pole, is precisely lying at the center of the mirror. So it cannot be anywhere on the surface. You take the mirror in your hand. Imagine you have a spherical mirror right in the middle, at the midpoint of that, symmetrically located on the mirror at the midpoint of the surface, not the spherical shell, the surface of the mirror. On that, pole is symmetrically located. Okay. Now, the straight line that joins the center of curvature and the pole is called as the principal axis. So, this line here is the principal axis of this concave mirror. Okay. Last point, the focus, also called as principal focus. Now, consider a situation where number of parallel rays are incident on a concave mirror. We will see focus for both the mirrors, concave as well as convex. Let us start with a concave mirror. Suppose a concave mirror is given to you. This is the principal axis, center of curvature. Let us suppose a number of parallel rays are incident on this mirror. Now, a special thing about these rays, all of them are parallel to the principal axis. So, after a reflection, all of them pass through, or all of them converge at a single point. That point is called as the focus of this mirror. The focus of this mirror. In this case, it is the concave mirror. Now, if you consider the convex mirror, okay, now observe convex mirror. Suppose this is the convex mirror. Remember convex mirror. So, the concave side is the opaque or the non-transparent side. So, this here is the pole. This is the principal axis. And remember, its center of curvature will lie here. Rays of light parallel to the principal axis are incident on this convex mirror. Now, after reflection, they are all going to travel in different directions, somewhat like this. What is most important for you all to understand here is that parallel rays parallel to the principal axis incident on the mirror, after a reflection, they all are actually diverging. So, here is a fundamental difference between a concave mirror and a convex mirror. What is happening here? For a concave mirror, number of rays parallel to the principal axis are incident on the mirror. After reflection, they actually converge at a point. They actually meet at a point. They actually intersect at a point. In case of convex mirror, what is happening here is, after reflection, the rays of light are actually diverging. They are moving away. You can see these are divergent rays. So, these rays of light are actually diverging. But if you produce them backward, see those dotted lines? If you produce them backwards, they appear to be converging at a point. That point is the focus of a convex mirror. Okay. So, the focus of the convex mirror is actually called as virtual focus. Why? Because by the classical definition of focus, reflected rays actually meet at a point. Now, that is not what is happening here. They are not meeting, they are not converging, they are actually diverging. And that is why in case of convex mirror, we do say sometimes we use this word virtual focus. So, in convex mirror, they are not actually converging, they are diverging. But if you produce them backward, they appear to be converging at a point. So, this point is the focus, or also called as the principal focus. Now, the distance between focus and the pole is denoted by small f. It is called as the focal length of the given spherical mirror. Okay. So, what is focal length? Once again, distance between principal focus and the pole of the mirror is called as a focal length. It is denoted by small f. Likewise, if you want to represent radius of curvature in this diagram, it is between center of curvature and the pole. This distance is the radius of curvature. Something similar will be here as well. Now, one more important point about spherical mirrors, and it is that the radius of curvature of any spherical mirror, convex or concave, okay, radius of curvature of any spherical mirror is twice that of its focal length. Okay, radius of curvature of any spherical mirror is twice that of the focal length, which also means that the focus is the midpoint between pole and center of curvature. Okay, so focus is situated midway between the pole and the center of curvature. Okay, so that is all from the basic terminologies in connection with spherical mirrors. In next class, we will study the image formation in case of both of these mirrors. Okay, thank you.